Part 3, Narcissism to Vacating. Chapter 15, Do the Lighten Up. Although it's not talked about in polite society, the truth is that it's all about me. It's only, truly, and always been about me, and of course, what I want. The real refrain from our existence is, it's all about me, me, and mine, mine, mine. And then you bring in those spoil sports, space and presence, where that awful, simple happiness happens. We just can't stand it. And then we have the nerve to say that presence is fun, that it makes us happy. What's a serious person to do? All this happiness can be dangerous to the assumption that it's all about me. We have the job of keeping out there safe for in here. In other words, me. With presence, we get to examine our assumptions. In the TV series Westworld, a programmer asks an android, "Have you questioned the nature of your reality lately?" Seriously, have you questioned the nature of your reality lately? We're all in a prison of sorts. We just don't see the bars, or more accurately, we've agreed not to see the bars. When I teach at prisons, it's really obvious these guys are locked up and have vastly more constricted and controlled life than I do. Being in prison is an inside headspace for everyone, but it's also physical for them. I tell them things are not as different outside as you think. When a culture reveres speed, consumption, and entertainment as much as we do, there's a certain kind of imprisonment. The culture is on the verge of not knowing what to value or how to bring joy to life. When you lose what has value, you forget how to relax, how to make this precious life worthwhile. One may react to the perspective of imprisonment and think, I'm happy, I'm free. But can you walk away from your living room to your car without being subdued by random crazy-making thoughts? How can we say we're free when we're slaves to our discursive thinking? How often at the end of a day you wondered what the whole thing, life, was about because the day just seemed like a race? How often do days go by without you falling in love with some aspect of your world? Happiness is seriously dangerous to seriousness. You can still write novels, brush your teeth, raise kids, drive cars, be sick, have fights, and make love, but something will be holding it all that's having fun. Even through the worst of times, there'll be some spark illuminating a simple joy. This is going to challenge your seriousness, which makes you dangerous and free. We must relish what we have. We must appreciate life, and in that sense, we have to take it very seriously. On the other hand, you can't remember today what you were dreadfully serious about yesterday. And if you have a good memory and can remember what was so important yesterday, try to remember what had your panties in a bunch 2 weeks ago. The crazy thing is we keep getting seduced into seriousness. There's no little voice that says, hey, this isn't going to last, this anger, this obsession, this serious problem. There's a character in the TV series Homeland who suffered a stroke. My real life is becoming more dreamlike, he says, and my dreams are more real-like. I think that happens with presence practice. When you do the lighten up, life becomes a little lighter. In fact, everything is made of light, and light is made of compassion and wisdom. The lighter you get, the more fun you have. That doesn't mean you can't do serious work, but you might be seriously lighter doing it. Have you ever been at a party or any gathering and realized that everyone is in character, a kind of character of themselves? And they all played themselves perfectly. No one can play you better than you can. It's like we all have our own Truman Show going on in our heads. Trungpa Rinpoche once said, we're like cartoons of ourselves, played with perfection and earnestness. And sometimes keeping the character together fails, like a pixel distortion in a glitching TV. One of the reasons as you feel lighter as you let go is that energy it took to stay in character, your shtick, gets released and you're simply in love with presence because it's your nature. But on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis, completely letting go of identity with me is a rarity. It's very hard to relate to the body as a process and not a thing. And sensory experience is so easy to misread as affirming our persona rather than being, well, sensory experienced. Disclaimer: this doesn't mean that dying won't be difficult or painful. But if you become lighter about the ephemerality of yesterday and the sacredness of right now, the dreamlike flowing quality of life can be experienced.